to do the Ganpati Stotram, that is Sri Uchishta Mahaganapati Dhyanam. We'll start with that and then we'll continue with the class. Right? So let's start Sri Uchishta Ganapati Dhyanam, Uchishta Mahaganapati Dhyanam. For the Ganapati is the first god that is to be worshipped before we start. Here we go. मूलाधारे सुयोनाख्ये चिदग्नि वरमंडले समासीनं पराशक्ति विग्रहं कननायकं रक्तोत्पलसमप्रख्यं नीलमेघसमप्रभं रत्नप्रभालसद्दीप्त मुकुटश्चित्तमस्तकं करुणारससुधाधारास्त्र वदच्चित्र्यान्वितम् अक्षिकुक्षी महावक्षः गण्डसूकादिभूषणं पाशाङ्कुशेक्षुकोदण्डपञ्चबाणलसत्करं नीलकान्ति घनीभूत नीलवाणी सुपार्श्वकं सुत्रिकोणाख्यनीलाङ्ग रसास्वादान तत्परं पत्न्यालिङ्गत्वामङ्गं सप्तमात्री निवेशितम् ब्रह्म विष्णु महेंद्राद्रि संप्रपूजित पादुकं महाद्वय पदोवाच्य पादुका मंत्र सारकं नवावरण यज्ञाख्य वारिवस्या विधि प्रियं पंचावरण यज्ञाख्य विधि संपूज्य पादुकं अखंड कोटि ब्रह्मांडा मंडलेश्वरमव्ययम् रदनाक्षर संपूर्ण मंत्रराज स्वरूपिणं गिरिव्याहृति वर्णात्म मंत्र तत्व प्रदर्शकम अरुणारुण तनुच्छाया महाकाम कलात्मकम महागोप्य महाविद्या प्रकाशित कलेवरम चिच्छिवम चिद्भवम शांतम त्रिगुणादि विवर्जितम अष्टोत्तर शताभिख्य कलान्यास विधि प्रियं चिदाकार महाद्वीप मध्यवास सुविग्रहं चिदावधि मथनोत्पन्न चित्सारघन विग्रहं वामगोचरं शांतं शुद्ध चैतन्य रूपिणं मूलकंदश्चिद्देश नवतांडव पंडितं षडम्बूरूह संस्थायी पर चिद्व्योम भासुरम अकारादि छकारांत वर्णलक्षित चित्सुखम अकाराक्षर निर्दिष्ट प्रकाशमय विग्रहम हकाराख्य विमर्शात्म प्रभादीप्त जगत्त्रयम् महाहंस जप ध्यान विधि ज्ञात स्वरूपकम सदोदित महाप्रज्ञाकारं संसार तारकं मोक्ष लक्ष्मी प्रदातारं कालातीत महाप्रभुं नाम रूपादि संभिन्न नित्यपूर्ण चिदुत्तमं प्रत्यगभूत महाप्राज्ञा गात्रगोचर विघ्नहं महाकुंडलिनी रूपं षट्चक्र नगरेश्वरं अप्राकृत महादिव्य चैतन्यात्मस्वरूपिणं नाद बिंदु कलातीतं कार्यकारण वर्जितं सटम्बुरूह चक्रांतं स्फुरत् सौदामिनी प्रभं तत्त्वमस्यादि वाक्यार्थ परिबोधन पंडितं ब्रह्मादि कटि पर्यंत व्याप्त संवित सुधारसं इक्षागान क्रियानंद सर्वतंत्र स्वतंत्रणां हृदय ग्रंथि विद्वाध दर्शनोत्सुक मानसं पंचकृत्य परेशानं महात्रयपुर विग्रहं श्रीचक्रराज मध्यस्थ शून्यग्राम महेश्वरं ब्रह्म विद्या स्वरूप श्री ललिता रूप धारिणं वसिन्याद्यावृतं साध्यं अद्वयानंद वर्धनम आदि शंकर रूपेश दक्षिणामूर्ति पूजितं असंस्पृष्ट महाप्राज्ञा भिक्षाद्वैतस्थिति प्रभम एवं संचित्ये देवम उच्छिष्टः गणनायकम नीलतारा समेतं तु सच्चिदानंद विग्रहम. Right. So this was Uchishta Mahaganapati Dhyanam. And going further, in the last Bhavartha Ratnakara class, we covered up to Taurus Ascendant and the shlokas for Taurus Ascendant. We will go further to deal with the Gemini Ascendant now. Gemini Ascendant, also known as Mithun Lagna, right? So let me make a demo chart for you people so that we can better understand the principles. And you know what? There are two books that are very important and essential to understand Raj Yogas. One of them is Bhavartha Ratnakara, and the second one is Laghu Parashari. I'm pretty sure that you people know what is Gemini Ascendant and the house lordships for Gemini Ascendant. But still, for the time being, let me make a demo Gemini Ascendant chart for you. Understanding the Raj Yogas are very important. Understanding the Raj Yogas are very important as Raj Yogas help you time things in a better, precise way. Astrology, this was a Gemini Ascendant chart, right? And I'm pretty sure you people are aware of it. Astrology doesn't understand the events. It generally understands the nature of the event. That's all. Right? It works like a computer. In the computer language, there are only two words, 0 and 1. And one of them is rendered negative and one of them is considered positive that way. The same goes with astrology. It understands very simple language of yoga karaka or no yoga karaka, maraka or no maraka. Do you get my point? That is an important step. So the science of astrology is actually divided into a few subsections. One of them being yoga. And yoga is coming together of one or more than one factor. So yoga gives you the promise. After that yoga, we come to dasha. And dasha will tell you when the yoga results will come into play. Hence, this way, dasha is very important. Because if there is a good yoga, but the yoga is not getting activated by the dasha, then the yoga is technically considered useless. Going further, there is the third thing that is known as transit. And transit is just used to know the intensity of the event. For an example, the seventh lord going to the eighth house is a possible combination for bad marriage. When the dasha of the concerned planet will go, at that point of time, the bad results, fights, etc. in the marital life will occur, right? If that bad time, the bad dasha, also coincides with a fatal transit or a bad transit, the result will go even worse, right? So dasha just indicates that you are going to fall from a bus, fall from a vehicle. But that vehicle will be a bus, that vehicle will be a train. What will be the speed of the vehicle, that is decided by the transit. Do you get my point? To understand whether a dasha is good or not depends on the Raj Yoga. Get my point? I will give you an example. Okay. Suppose the 10th lord is in a bad condition, right? 10th lord goes to the 12th house. Condition 1, okay. And suppose the 4th lord and 5th lord is conjoined in the 4th house. Hmm? Let's take an example for the Gemini Ascendant itself. So this Gemini Ascendant, suppose the 10th lord Jupiter goes to the 12th house and Mercury and Venus are having a connection in the 4th house, right? You understand it? Now Jupiter going to the 12th house indicates bad for the 10th house matter profession. When the dasha of Jupiter will run, when the dasha of the planet only connected with Jupiter will run, at that point of time, bad results related to profession will come. Okay. So for a lifetime, will this person get only bad results related to profession? No. When the dasha of the planet connected with, when the dasha of the Mercury or Venus will run, good result related to profession will come as they make a Raj Yoga and also aspect the 10th house. Am I being clear? Now in this scenario, the Mercury dasha is very good. But the Venus dasha is dubious, or what we say in other words is mixed. Why mixed? Come on. Any answer for why the Venus dasha should be mixed in result? Yeah. Because Venus is also the 12th lord, the dispositor of the Jupiter, right? So Venus dasha have to be mixed. And when this Venus dasha will coincide with a bad transit, it is supposed to give bad result related to profession. When it will coincide with a good transit, it is supposed to give good result related to profession. Do you understand? Right? So this is what it is. First of all, the promise with yoga. Then the occurrence of the event as per the dasha. And then the intensity of event as per the transit. The first most important thing is the yoga. Got my point? right? So, understood, understood, right? So coming to the right, so the yoga is important to know the analysis, to know the thing that is supposed to happen. Do you get my point? By carefully analyzing a yoga, you actually come to know, getting my point, the potential of the horoscope. See, try understanding one point, right? The potential of the horoscope is very important. Do you get me? The potential of the horoscope is very important. Up to which level one can go. Your 10th lord is powerful. That will give you a good profession, but up to what extent? Getting my point? A shopkeeper having a good sales is also having a good profession. A CEO of a corporation is also having a good profession. A CEO of an international corporation is also having a good profession. Getting my point? Up to what extent? And that is to be decided as per the yoga, point one. And secondly, you cannot wait for the time to come to analyze the result. Do you get my point? When the Mercury Dasa will come, you will be knowing the result of Mercury. Got my point? But you cannot actually wait up to the mid of Mercury Dasha to know the result of Mercury, right? Astrology is a science related to prognostication. So you have to know the result of Mercury beforehand. And for these two reasons, the analysis of the yoga, the promise of the yoga is very important. Understood? In Bhavartha Ratnakara, what we are doing is understanding the yoga. Any questions?
एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन था सर.
Yes.
Suppose 10th lord in 12th house, when the dasa antadasa of Jupiter here come, the native will face the problem. Suppose he is doing the profession of 12th house and Taurus Rashi, according to the Taurus Rashi, what will be the result in the dasa?
In the case when he's doing a profession related to the 12th house, the bad result that is supposed to come in the dasha of Jupiter will be less. The bad result will be considerably less as compared to the result of the same dasha in the life of a person who is not engaged in a 12th house profession. That is one of the stuff. That is good. And Raj Yoga is not only about profession. Raj Yoga is about marriage as well. And Raj Yoga is about everything. Remember, it's about everything. When you run the dasha of, a bad, if you want to time divorce, do you think all the divorce happens in a bad seventh lord dasha only? Or a bad Venus? No. Any planet who is not making a Raj Yoga, who is making a bad yoga, he in his dasha can break your marriage, break your bones, break your career, anything that he wants. It depends on him. Right? What you want to break, he can break anything. Getting my point? Just understand one concept. It is good time versus bad time. Good time, everything is good. Bad time, everything is bad. Getting my point? In the bad time, when you do a remedy for profession, your profession improves, but your health goes down. When you also do a problem for health, then your personal life goes down. Getting my point? Because it is a bad time. Acceptance is the key. However, coming to the first shloka for the Gemini Ascendant in Bhavartha Ratnakara, the concept is clear, right? तृतीयस्थो रविबुधौ बुधादये समागमे बुधौ योगप्रदः युग्मजातस्य भाग्यतः. For a person born in Gemini Ascendant, if the Sun and Mercury are placed in the third house, Mercury will surely produce yoga in his dasha, besides giving rise to beneficial results. Why? What we are talking about is Gemini Ascendant with Sun and Mercury in the third house. And he is commenting that the Mercury Dasha is going to be very good, and Mercury will also behave like a beneficial. Why? And there is one very important principle now. Lagna Lord going to the third house is never good, to be very honest with you, because third house indicates struggles, and Lagna Lord's connection with third house indicates a whole lot of struggles. Even if your Lagna Lord aspects the third house, that is also getting my point. So connection with the third house is never desirable. Come on, come on. The principle is very simple. Let me give you a hint. What is the nature of Mercury?
Mercury, Lagna Lord and Kendra and Kona Lord. Yoga character.
Yeah, you can take. What is the nature of Mercury? Benefic, malefic? Normal nature.
Mercury with his sun is malefic.
Yeah, Mercury with a malefic sun will become a malefic, right?
In Upsaya is good.
And malefic in Upchaya is good. For that particular reason, the result of Mercury is good. Right? And Mercury also becomes a Yoga Karaka. Now, why Mercury, the result of Mercury becoming good, you understand. That is a malefic in Upchaya, right? Upchaya is third house, sixth house, 10th house, and 11th house, right? These are Upchayas. And malefics are good in Upchaya. Got my point? Okay, that is okay. That is understood. But why this Mercury starts giving a Raj Yoga? Budho Yoga Pradasatya. It is true that in this case, Mercury will give yoga. It is told that Mercury will give yoga. It is not told that Mercury will give Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga is very good. Yoga is good. Good versus very good. Understood? So why Mercury will give yoga? Come on, that is an important principle, you know.
Sun in one house, sir?
Yes, Sun in own house, but in that case, Sun should give a yoga. Why Mercury? The two things, the answer of Janmejai is partially correct. If a planet is conjoined with another power, remember this rule, note it down. Important principle, very important. If a planet is conjoined with another powerful planet, he gets the benefit of being conjoined with the powerful planet, right? So exalted Mars in conjunction to, say, Sun. So not only Mars will give good result, but Sun will also give good result, provided the fact that they are friends. In the case they are enemies, the enemy will tend to oppose the planet who is in power. Okay. In the text like Bhavartha Ratnakara, and I will take time to explain this particular principle. In the texts like Bhavartha Ratnakara, the normal friendship and enmity told by Satyacharya is used. And almost in 80% texts of astrology, only this friendship and enmity is used. And how it is derived. So let me do the derivation. Let me do the derivation, right? Because that is something important to be understood. Before I go there, you write this rule, right? A planet with another powerful planet gets the power of being with the powerful planet. And because of this reason, Mercury being with Sun gets some strength by Sun, who is in own sign, right? That is rule one, principle one. Understood. Understood. Rule number two. Lagna Lord, until and unless heavily afflicted, will always do good. Everyone is having at least one good day in their life, right? That is the day of the Lagna Lord. Lagna Lord, until and unless heavily afflicted, does good. Write this second rule. If a result is not promised by any other factor, but that is promised, then the result have to be given by the Lagna Lord. I will give you an example. Suppose the fifth Lord is in the 11th house, aspected by two malefics in a planetary war also. So the fifth Lord is very weak. That is in a planetary war and also aspected by two malefics, right? So in his Dasha Antardasha, he will not be able to give you a child. And see, I am talking of very serious astrology, you know that, right? Because I want you people to become good astrologers, right? I don't want you people to live in a dilemma that you know astrology. No, no. Be a good astrologer, learn serious astrology, okay? It is not a child's play. Don't degrade the science. In this case, because the fifth lord is quite afflicted, he will not be able to give child. But because fifth lord aspects the fifth house, there is a promise for child. Who will give that child? Because no one is contenting to give a child, Lagna Lord will give. Any result that is promised. But the planet who is promising it is weak to not produce the result. In that scenario, Lagna Lord will give the result. So there is one more important tool for timing, you know. The planet should be good as well as should be powerful. Good and powerful both. If the planet is good for the house, he will do good. If the planet is bad for the house, he will do bad. That is the one principle, first of all. If he is powerful, he will be able to do the result. When he is not powerful, he will transfer the result to someone else to do it. Getting my point? And these rules should be very clearly understood. Because you know what, this is serious astrology. When someone will get married, when someone will have a child, when someone will make a home, that is a serious astrology. Do you get my point? Predicting you were what animal in a previous life and the pending karma, etc., is not serious astrology. Let me be very honest. Learn serious astrology. Have some respect for the science. It is already lost. Coming back, not discussing further. Okay. Now the friendship and enmity of the planet is already known. But because of the first technique that I told you, a planet with his powerful friend gets benefited by his powerful friend. For this particular reason, you should know who are the friends. So the principle, first of all. And I will want you people to do it. And I'm not gonna do it. Okay. Let me tell it to you people. Right? This is the Satyacharya method of friendship. There are multiple methods of friendship. First of all, one is the Satyacharya method of friendship. One is the Yavanacharya method of friendship. One is the Nadi method of friendship. There are multiple methods of friendship is the first thing that you have to understand, right? So this is the Satyacharya method of friendship. And Satyacharya will say that the Lord of the third house, the Lord of the sixth house, the Lord of the seventh house, the Lord of the 10th house, the Lord of the 11th house, and the Lord of the debilitation sign. Your down arrow means debilitation sign. The Lord of the debilitation sign from the Mula Trigona sign of any planet are his enemies. Okay. Other planets are friends, and the planet whose one house is in enemy house and one house is in friendly house, that planets become neutral. So here are friend, first common comma for friend, second comma for neutral, third comma for enemy, right? So let's understand it one by one, planet by planet. Okay. Let's start with the Lord of the zodiac Sun. What is the Mula Trikona sign of the Sun?
Leo.
Let's make a horoscope for Leo. So Sun will never have a connection with Sun. So let's leave Sun, right? Let's talk about Moon. Moon is the Lord of which house?
12th house.
12th
Fourth,
house. Moon is the Lord of 12th house.
12th,
fourth,
12th,
Fourth house is ruled by right. Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah. So fourth house is ruled by Moon, right? And fourth and 12th house was not an enemy list, right? So Moon becomes the friend, okay? Moon, friend. What? After Moon, Mars will come. Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. This is the order. What about Mars? Mars is the lord of the fourth house and Mars is the lord of the ninth house, right? Good houses. So Mars will also become the friend. Let's talk about Mercury. Mercury is the lord of the 11th house and Mercury is lord of the second house, right? 11th house was enemy. But the second house is not an enemy, right?
Neutral.
One friend, one enemy will become neutral. So Mercury becomes neutral. Let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is the lord of the 5th house and Jupiter is the lord of the 8th house. What is Jupiter? Friend. So Jupiter becomes.
friend.
Going further. Venus. Venus is lord of the 3rd house. Right here, Venus is the lord of the 10th house. So what is Venus?
Me.
Enemy. Going further to Saturn. Saturn is the lord of the 6th house and Saturn is the lord of the 7th house. So what is Saturn?
Me.
Enemy. So Sun will have 3 friends, Moon, Mars and Jupiter, 1 neutral Mercury and 2 enemies, Venus and Saturn. Understood? Normal friendship enmity as per the Satyacharya. This is used in 80% of astrology. Going further, what is the Mula Trikona sign for Moon?
Sir, sir, Cancer.
Cancer is own sign. Cancer is not Mula Trikona.
Taurus.
Taurus.
Taurus. Moon's Mula Trikona is in Taurus, right? Okay. Now you will find something very important, you know. Sun is the lord of which house? Fourth house.
Fourth.
So that is a friend, right? So sun is a friend. Moon is the lord of the third house actually, but moon cannot be an enemy for moon, right? So let's leave moon. Only moon is the enemy of moon. No other is the enemy of moon. Understand it. Only mind is the enemy of mind. Others are not the enemy of mind. Okay. Let's go to Mars. Mars is the lord of the 7th house and 12th house. 7th house inimical, 12th house friendly, right? So Mars is neutral. Okay. Talking about Mercury. Mercury is the lord of the 5th house and 2nd house. So Mercury becomes a friend. Coming to Jupiter. Jupiter is the lord of the 11th house and Jupiter is the lord of the 8th house. So it becomes neutral because 11th house was a bad house, right? So neutral. Coming to Venus. Venus is the lord of the Lagna and the 6th house. So Venus becomes neutral. Coming to Saturn. Saturn becomes the lord of the 9th house and 10th house. So Saturn is neutral, right? The 9th house and the 10th house. So Saturn is neutral. For moon, no enemies. So there are no enemies to the mind, right? The sun and Mercury are the friends. The soul and the intelligence are the friends for the moon. All other are neutrals. There is no enemy for moon. Not at all. See, understanding the principle is very important. You know that. If you don't understand the principle, it is problematic. The next planet, Mars. Sun, Moon, Mars. So what is the Mula Trikona sign of Mars?
Aries.
Aries, right. So Sun is the lord of 5th house. That is a friend. Moon is the lord of the 4th house. That is a friend. Mars is the planet itself. Mercury is the lord of the 3rd house and 6th house. That is an enemy. Going further, Jupiter. Jupiter is the lord of the 9th house and 12th house. So Jupiter is a friend. Venus is the lord of the 7th house and 2nd house. So Venus is neutral. One enemy, one friend. Neutral. And Saturn is the lord of the 10th house and 11th house. So Saturn is enemy. So Mercury and Saturn are the enemies. Venus is neutral and Sun, Moon, Jupiter are friendly to Mars, right? Let's go further.
Sir, but here Moon is also, it is a debilitation house for Mars, 4th house Cancer.
In that scenario, it actually does good to Mars by opposing Mars. generally. If a planet is the lord of the debilitation sign, but at the same point of time also falls in a friendly section or a neutral section, in that scenario, the planet tends to oppose the signification of the planet under consideration. And by opposing the signification, it actually does good. So the end result is good, but that good is achieved by opposition. That is the case that, a person is avoided of an accident by spending his day in home. So that's neither a good way, but at least he have avoided something. So for the whole day, he will be cursing God that, oh my God, I was not able to do any work today. Because he will never know that if you had a work today, what must have happened. So that is the kind of stuff, right? The next planet, Mercury. What is the Mula Trikona sign of Mercury?
Virgo.
Virgo, right? So Sun is a 12th house lord. Sun comes as a friend.
And
Moon is the 11th house lord. Moon comes as enemy. Mars is the 8th house lord and the 3rd house lord. Mars is neutral. So you understand this. For Moon, Mercury is friend. Moon thinks that Mercury is his friend, right? Mercury takes Moon as his enemy. Do you get my point? So in the Moon-Mercury combination, Mercury prospers, but Moon suffers, right? Mars is having extreme enmity towards Mercury, but Mercury considers Mars as his friend. Neutral, at least neutral. So mind will think that no, anger is not good for me. Anger is very okay. Anger is okay. It gives me power. That is what mind will think. But anger's prime motive will be, let me destroy this intelligence. Getting my point? So that is a peculiar thing. That's why I told you to note it down. Because that is important. Getting my point? You have to understand the intricacies of it. Mercury is the planet itself, so leave it. What about Jupiter? Jupiter is the lord of the 4th house and 7th house. Jupiter is a neutral. Venus is the lord of the 2nd house and 9th house. That is a
friend.
And Saturn is the lord of the 5th house and the 6th house.
Neutral.
Saturn is neutral. Once again, Mercury takes Saturn as neutral. But Saturn will take Mercury as a friend. So provided the fact that there is a Saturn-Venus-Mercury combination, Mercury will support Venus more and not Saturn. That's why for the Lagna of Mercury, Saturn is never a Yoga Karaka. Understand, you know what? I will tell you one rule. In the end, if you have the patience to go through it, good results should be given to those who are patient enough, right? That is the first rule in BPHS. Give knowledge to those who are patient, who are patient enough.
Sir, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Like you described the result of debilitation of Mars in 4th house of Moon, which is friendly house for Mars, Aries, Mars Moon. So can you describe in the same way for Taurus, which is Moon's Mool Trikon, debilitation in 7th?
कम अगेन हिंदी में बोलिए आप उसको सवाल को फिर सर।
जैसे कि आपने वो मंगल के चतुर्थ में जो नीच हुआ उसको आपने डिस्क्राइब किया था, वो अच्छा रिजल्ट देगा बाय अपोजिंग मार्स। तो उसी प्रकार से जो वृषभ जो चंद्र का मूल त्रिकोण है वो अपने सप्तम में जाकर नीच हो रहा है, उसको डिस्क्राइब कीजिए थोड़ा।
सप्तम में तो हर ग्रह नीच होता है ना, हर ग्रह अपने उच्च राशि से तो सप्तम में नीच हो रहा है। Every planet gets debilitated in the 7th from their exaltation sign only. Getting debilitated in Scorpio can be a question. Getting debilitated in 7th from the exaltation sign, every planet gets debilitated in 7th from the exaltation sign only. Actually, there is no mention of debilitation sign. It is only mentioned that 7th from exaltation is debilitation. You will never find a shloka for what are the debilitation sign of planets, right? It is just told that 7th from exaltation will be debilitation, always for every case. Mars being, Moon being debilitated in the sign of Mars is for that particular reason that Mars takes Moon as an enemy, right? But Moon doesn't take Mars as an enemy. But this point I also told in the class yesterday that I was teaching. Mars becomes debilitated in Cancer. Cancer is never synonymous with Moon. Cancer have a personal trait, Moon have a personal trait, right? So the traits of Cancer being the 4th house of home makes the Mars become unsettled. You know, with an AK-47 and a sword in his hand, in a 4x4 room, what he will do? He will fire in above and the roof will fall on his head. So he can technically do nothing. That's why he's debilitated there. In the same case, Moon going to the 8th house, right? Moon is a very delicate mother kind of a person, you know, very soft-hearted, caring guy. If he goes to a house post-mortem room where people are being killed, butchered, what will be his condition? He will not be able to, he will not be able to justify. He will not be able to survive. The same Moon in Taurus, the same Moon in a, say, in a farm field where he will see cow, right? Taurus is cow. Same Moon looking at a cow who will be feeding their, calf and also giving the milk to humans. And cow never bites anyone. Have you ever saw a cow biting anyone? He's very happy with that. Getting my point. So this is to be understood very clearly. Mars is debilitated in Cancer, nothing to do with Moon. Cancer is the problem. Moon is not the problem. Moon itself is exalted in Taurus. Moon is not having any ownership over. Getting my point. Moon doesn't want to take ownership over Cancer. It is just the case that the Cancer is a sign that is given to Moon. Cancer is synonymous to Moon. That is never the case. Although I will add one more point. The planet, the Rashi, who is the Mula Trikona of the planet, will resonate more with the nature of the planet as compared to the sign who is not a Mula Trikona. For an example, Capricorn is a Mula Trikona for Saturn. But Capricorn is an Earth sign and Saturn is not Earth planet. Saturn is an air planet. Why? Because the Mula Trikona sign of Saturn, Aquarius, is an airy Rashi. Got my point? So that is something, that's one peculiar point. Coming to the next planet.
And yes, I'm sorry. Here you described the mutual relationship of Moon and Mercury. So if I ask that Mercury being in Moon sign versus being in Mercury sign, what will be the difference in the planets? How planet afflicted or benefited?
Come again. Moon is a friend. Moon doesn't think Mercury as his enemy, but Mercury thinks Moon as his enemy. Okay.
Based on this, Mercury being in Moon sign versus Moon being in Mercury sign.
Good. That is quite a question. So, in the Dhan Yoga chapter, it is told that Mercury in the sign of Moon makes a person rich. Rashi is the land. Technically, Rashi is the land. All the significations of the Rashi are somehow related to land. The bull will not fly. Lion will not fly. None of the animals of the zodiac will fly. All of them stands on the ground. They will not fly. None of them are flying animals, right? They all are on the earth. So Rashi is very much connected to earth, the land. Rashi is generally taken as a portion of land. The Lord of the Rashi controls the resources. And here comes an important question for dispositorship, right? So we say if Sun is exalted but Mars is weak, the exaltation of sun is not that powerful, because the sign Aries that is exalted by, where a sun will become exalted, the resources of that sign is controlled by Mars. So if Mars itself will become weak, he will not have much resources to support sun who is exalted. That exaltation is not very good. Getting my point? That is like, like sun is the king of a kingdom where only two people live. In that scenario, he being a king is of no use, because that two people at the end of the day control the king itself. The problem of ruling over a small kingdom is that your people of the society starts ruling you. Getting my point? In a big society, you rule them, small society rules over you. Getting my point? That is a peculiar thing. So now when Mercury goes to the sign of moon, he gets a whole lot of resources. Because moon thinks that Mercury is a good planet. Moon will welcome Mercury with all the open heart. And Mercury will enjoy in the sign of moon. Whereas when moon goes to Gemini and Virgo, that is not a very good situation for moon, because Mercury will not let moon use all of his resources. So when a planet goes to an inimical sign, the resources are cramped. The resources are cramped. So generally when moon goes to the sign of Mercury, the person will be a thinker, right? Mercury thinks. Mercury is a thinker, right? What that thinking does to you, your mind will not remain calm. And mind not remaining calm or not remaining at peace gives you a new problem of overthinking, anxiety, depression. Getting my point? So the resources which the planet will use is cramped, generally. And this is one of the most important principles to understand the results of a Rashi. Because Rashi is a very ignored topic. And nowadays people only know 4 techniques of Rashi and they boast on those 4 techniques only. There is at least 64, 65 techniques for a Rashi, and it is one of the major techniques, right? The resources. You get my point? You know what? Like Saturn is told very good in the sign of Jupiter. It is told very good in the sign of Jupiter. Because when you will go with the friendship and enmity of Saturn, you will see that Jupiter is actually a friend. And in the friendship and enmity of Jupiter also, you will find Saturn coming as a neutral only, right? So for Jupiter, Saturn is neutral. For Saturn, Jupiter is neutral. So they tend to support each other. That's why Jupiter, although being a friend of Sun and Mars, the complete enemies of Saturn, Saturn is told very good in Sagittarius and Pisces. The resources are supported. Getting my point? So when your 7th lord goes to, suppose your 7th lord is Moon, and it goes to a sign of Mercury. In that scenario, your wife may be very beautiful, but you cannot get anything done. Mercury indicate a beautiful lady. Mercury will indicate a beautiful and talented lady. That is okay, because Mercury is a benefic planet. But you cannot get many things done through the, getting my part, through the wife. And that being in an enemy sign, that wife will come as a liability. So you will get married and he will have a younger brother who is in school. So now you have to fund his studies first. Then you have to fund his job. Then he wants to take a motorcycle one day. You have to fund his motorcycle. Then you have to fund his girlfriend expenses also. So it will come with all that baggage. Getting my point? Because that is not in a good sign. And when the 7th lord is in a friendly sign, so wife will come to your life, and his father will also give you some money, and his mother will also send you food and sweets, so you will be very happy. No liability, only enjoyment. Getting my point? Resources are cramped. The resources should not be cramped. Understood? Clear? Resources. Okay, going further.
Can I ask one peculiar result?
Yes,
like,
yes.
In Brihad Jatak, there is result given for like a planet has gone to enemy sign, and in that sign it is aspected by the dispositor. So mostly, except for Saturn, for all other planets, it is good. I see. Can you explain this a little?
That is when the dispositor aspects the sign. the lack of resources is somehow covered. A sign will become powerful by three things, right? Hura Swami Guru ke Vikshitita Drishta Nanyasya Viryotkata. Powerful signs are the signs aspected by Jupiter, Mercury, and the sign lord. A sign otherwise weak, when he becomes aspected by the dispositor or the sign lord, becomes powerful. So in that case, doesn't matter whether the planet supports the planet situated in the sign or not, because the Rashi is having a whole lot of resources. The result is supposed to be good. It is like a bird sitting on a tree. So a tree cannot use his own fruit. He cannot eat it. He can do nothing for it. So either you pluck the fruit or the fruit will fall. Getting my point? So when a sign is aspected by the dispositor, the sign is extremely powerful. And powerful in such an extent like it is a tree with multiple fruits there. So you take the fruit, or some bird eats the fruit, or the fruit falls down. Tree have nothing to do with fruit. Getting my point? For humans, we have one child, two child. So we want to have that child, right? When a tree will flourish, it will have 1,000 of fruits in once. Next year it will flourish again. It will have 1,000 fruits once again. Getting my point? So there's a whole lot of. That is the aspect of dispositor. For Saturn, it is not good because Saturn, when the planet will aspect Saturn, Saturn will also aspect him. And Saturn will restrict the power of the planet itself. So the Rashi in turn will not get the strength that he should actually get, because the Lord will get afflicted by the aspect of Saturn. And Saturn have the restrictive condition, right? There are other malefics also. Sun is also malefic, that is not a problem. But Sun will not restrict the Bahulta principle, right? You understand the Bahulta principle. Sun will not restrict the Bahulta principle of the planet, right? Sun will not afflict the expensive result of the aspect, whereas Saturn will tend to restrict it. So that's why for Saturn, the aspect of the dispositor is never considered very good. Because the sign will get afflicted, the Lord will also get afflicted. Both the things will go at once. That's why the aspect of Saturn is considered very terrible. Because anyone who will come under his aspect, see, Saturn is like Bali. जो उसके सामने खड़ा होगा उसको 50% पावर तो वो पहले खींच लेगा. अब 50% पावर के साथ फिर राम भी पीछे से छुप के झाड़ी के पीछे छुप के बोला पीछे से बाण मारो भाई इसको. आगे से तो बाण वो खाने नहीं वाला. शनि है भैया. शनि तो कहीं आगे से बाण खाता है. Getting my point? Do you understand it? Okay. So going further, after Mercury, we go to Venus. We have to go to Jupiter also. I haven't forget it. We'll go to Jupiter after this. Okay. What is the Mula Trikona sign of Venus? Libra. So Sun is the lord of the 11th house. That is an enemy. So Sun is an enemy. Moon is the lord of the 10th house. So Moon is an enemy. Mars is the lord of the 7th house and 2nd house. So Mars is a neutral. Mercury is the lord of the 12th house and 9th house. So Mercury is a friend. Jupiter is the lord of the 3rd house and 6th house. So Jupiter is an enemy. And Saturn is the lord of the 4th house and 5th house. So Saturn is a friend, right? For Venus, Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are enemies. Mars is neutral, and Mercury and Saturn are friends. Right? Going further, what is the Mula Trikona sign of Jupiter? Sagittarius. So Sun is the lord of the 9th house. That is a friend. Moon is the lord of the 8th house. That is a friend. Mars is the lord of the 5th house and 12th house. So that is a friend. Mercury is the lord of the 7th house and 10th house. So Mercury is an enemy, right? Venus is the lord of the 6th house and the 11th house. So Venus is an enemy. And Saturn is the lord of the 2nd house and 3rd house. So Saturn is a neutral.
Neutral.
That is for Jupiter, right? Going further to the last planet. What is the Mula Trikona sign of Saturn?
Yes.
Various, right? So Sun is the lord of the 7th house. Enemy.
Enemy.
Moon is the lord of the 6th house.
Enemy.
Mars is the lord of the 3rd house and 10th house.
Enemy.
Mercury is the lord of the 5th house and 8th house. Jupiter is the lord of the 11th house and 2nd house.
Neutral.
And Venus is the lord of the 4th house and 9th house. That is a friend, right? So these are the friends for Saturn. Mercury, Venus, friend. Jupiter, neutral. Sun, Moon, Mars, enemies, right? Okay, that's done. What about Rahu and Ketu? So what is the Mula Trikona sign of Rahu for that matter?
According to the dispositor of Rahu?
According to the dispositor of Rahu. That is a very... According to the dispositor of Rahu. Right? So Rahu will give result according to the planet who is conjoined with Rahu. If no planet is conjoined, then as for the planet aspecting Rahu. And if no planet is aspecting, then the planet who is the lord of the sign where Rahu is situated. My point. Some people take Rahu as Mula Trikona and Aquarius. But one planet, but you know, one Rashi cannot have two Mula Trikonas. Right? One Rashi cannot have two Mula Trikonas. Be very clear about it. So Rahu cannot share his Mula Trikona with Saturn. Right? Achha, another, some people will say that the Mula Trikona for Rahu will be Gemini. In that scenario, the Mula Trikona for Ketu have to be Sagittarius, and then Sagittarius Mula Trikona have to be shared. Some people take that the Mula Trikona for Rahu is Virgo. And the Mula Trikona for the Ketu is Pisces. That can be taken as a working case. So let me do it for Rahu and Ketu, right? Considering Virgo as the Mula Trikona for, because can we do it? Virgo Mula Trikona will be shared by Mercury. So for this peculiar reason, for Rahu and Ketu, we go by only one rule, hai na? That Rahu and Ketu give results according to conjunction, aspect, or disposition. Understood? That is something serious that needs to be understood, right? So this is the depth of the shloka, right? If I explain it my way, And then one book will take you a lifetime. So the first shloka for the Gemini Ascendant, Tridiyasthaur Abhibudhau Budhadaye Samagame Budho Yoga Pradasatyah Yugama Jatasya Bhagyuda. Tridiyastha Ravi Budho for Sun and Mercury in the third house of Gemini Ascendant, Budhadaye Samagame. Because of the conjunction of Mercury, Budho Yoga Pradasatyah, Mercury gives yoga, not Raj Yoga, yoga. Mercury gives good result because he becomes a malefic with his conjunction to Sun, and malefics give good result in third house, sixth house, 10th house, and 11th house. And also because his almost you can say for Mercury, Sun is the friend, right? The Lord of the 12th house from the Mula Trikona. So because, and Sun also considers Mercury as a friend, neutral at least, right? So because of this reason, Mercury tends to give yoga, because it is good for the house also, and good as per the placement also. Good for the Rashi also, good for the Rashi also. Because he is 12th from his Mula Trikona, and the 12th sign from the Mula Trikona was good only, right? So because Rashi and Bhava and conjunction, Graha, all three things are good, that gives a yoga, right? And that yoga gives rise to the luck of Gemini Ascendant person. Sun conjoined with Mercury gives good luck. For a Mercury Ascendant, Sun conjoined with Mercury will give a Raj Yoga in the Dasha Antar Dasha of Mercury. Why? You know what? People have been copying this yoga like anything. I talked about this yoga when I was teaching Bhrigu. I taught this yoga in a free class of Bhrigu. And then it just got copied in 3 weeks only. Not an issue. Alligators are not afraid of fishes, right? So what was the yoga? What was the yoga? In the Bhrigu class, when I was doing the Bhrigu course, I did a video. And there was Bhrigu yogas, right? Bhrigu Devi Yoga, Bhrigu Danav Yoga. So what was that yoga? It is just an expansion of that yoga only, right? Let me tell you this. Gemini is the natural third house in the zodiac, right? Lord of Gemini conjoined with the third lord from Gemini is very good for Gemini. Getting my point? And this rule is aptly applicable in the horoscope of the guru of the person who copied my yoga. Leaving the case aside. Got my point. So Gemini Lagna is the natural third house. And when the lord of Gemini, Mercury, is conjoined the third lord, that is Sun, in any house for a Gemini ascendant, that gives a Raj Yoga. But in the Dasha of Mercury, not in the Dasha of Sun. Ask me why. Because Sun at the end of the day is lord of a bad house only. Getting my point? For that case, for this particular matter, For a Virgo Lagna Lord can be conjoined with the sixth Lord. Lagna Lord can be conjoined with the sixth Lord. Sixth Lord will be Mars, right? That will tend to give a yoga, but only in the Dasha of Mercury, not in the Dasha of Mars. The Dasha of Mars will be a disaster. Got to my point? Understand it this way, right? Going further, the second shloka is Bhrigu Bhaumindava Kheta Dhanasthane Stata Yadi Shukradaye Dhanapraptim Yugma Jatas Samashnute. Right? That is, if Venus, Mars, and the Moon are in the second house. Just let me make a new Gemini Ascendant horoscope once again. Just give me a second. In the second house, Bhrigu Bhauma Indava. So Bhrigu is Venus, Bhauma is Mars, and Indava is Indu is Moon. Venus, Mars, Moon conjoined in the second house. Then Sthana is Stithayati. Bhrigu Bhauma Indava Kheta. Kheta means planet. Kheta means planet. Okay. So these three planets, Dhanasthana is Stithayati, if they are placed in the Dhanasthana, the second house. Sukradaya Dhanapraptim Yugma Jatas Samasnute. In the Dasha of Venus, one will get money. One simple question. And you have to answer it, otherwise you are not understanding the principle clearly. Why money in the Dasha of Venus? Not in the Dasha of Mars. Why money in the Dasha of Venus and not in the Dasha of Mars? Come on.
Mars many means Gemini.
Very good, Devajyoti. Mars is a malefic planet, point one. Mars is not a Raju Karaka, being the Lord of the 8th house and the 11th house, 6th house and the 11th house. He is not a good planet. That was our principle, right? 11th house may indicate gains. That's why I made the previous principle so elaborate. Getting my point? Because the 11th house lord is a planet who is used to decide the enemy. Got my point? So the 11th house is good. It may indicate gains, but the 11th lord is not good. You understand my point? 11th lord is not good. 11th houses, right? So Mars being the 6th lord and the 11th lord going to the second house, point one. And because of the second lord, Moon, getting conjoined to Mars, he is not supposed to gain money in the Dasha of Mars. Why not in the Dasha of Moon? Mars, you understand, okay, that is fine. But why not in the Dasha of Moon? Because Moon is not a Raj Yoga Karaka. And planets who are not Rajayogakas can give a small amount of good results only. Very big amount of good result cannot be given by them. That was the first principle that we did in the starting of the class, right? Yoga is important. Only Venus, because he is the fifth lord and the 12th lord, only Venus is capable of giving the very good results of money, because Venus is also situated in the sign of money, and along with that, he is also a Rajayoga Karaka. Getting my point? You know what? Most importantly, very importantly, you also have to pay attention to the exaltation sign of the planet. That is also a very important principle. Getting my point? So because Mars is debilitated and that is debilitated in the sign of Moon, both of them are not that functional to give finances as compared to Venus. Puja ji, 12th house and second house for the case of Raj Yoga is taken as a neutral house. Hence, the blemish of being the 12th lord should not be considered. Planet in the 12th house gives loss, the 12th lord is okay. For the case of Raj Yoga, it may destroy the house, but for Raj Yoga, it is okay. That is a specific thing. Understood?
जी sir.
So there are some 10 shlokas and we are going to finish them. Because Karkataka Lagna the next class, right? One Lagna per class. The next shloka. Mithune Jayamanasya Dhara Sunur Dhanestataha Sasi Chandra Ashtamastho Sanirdaye Samagame. Okay. Let's try understanding this shloka. See, understanding is important. Understanding is important. Getting my point? See, a classic cannot tell you a classic cannot tell you result of all the planets in all the houses. Do you understand me? One planet in 12 house, two planet in 12 house, three planet in 12 house. How many shlokas you will remember or how many shlokas you will write? Understanding my point. You have to understand it. First thing, getting my point. Understanding. Mithune Jayamanasya Dhanar Sonur Dhanestitaha. For a Gemini Ascendant person, if Mars is in the second house and Moon and Saturn are in the 8th house, then during the Dasha of Saturn, now the shloka is a complement to the next shloka. Mithune Jayamanasya Dhanar Sunur Dhanestah Sani Chandravastamastau Sanirdaye Samagave Sanistu Misri Faldah Kujdaye Samagame Dhani Yoga Bhavatyeva Jatakasyana Samshaya. Saturn will give mixed results. Right? But Mars will give Dhana Yoga. Now what happened to this Mars? That was a bad planet. In the same combination previously, Mars, Venus, Moon in the second house, Mars was a bad planet. Now what happened to Mars that he became a good planet? The answer is already there, what Amarkanji asked. That in Braj Jataka it is written that if a planet is aspected by the dispositor, the planet becomes very benefic. Saturn, despite being in own sign, will not be able to give good result because he is conjoined with an enemy, aspected by an enemy. And out of these two enemies, it is a malefic also. So you should read this Saturn as Saturn aspected by two enemies and one malefic. Two enemies and one malefic. But that is in his own sign. So mixed result. Good result of own sign, bad result of being aspected by enemies, and bad result of being aspected by malefics. So what is the result of getting aspected by enemies? Enmity will happen. And this is the Lord of the ninth house. So enmity with father will happen. Enmity with guru will happen. Enmity with government will happen. Saturn is the karaka of servant. Enmity with servants will happen. Enmity with employees will happen. Enmity with people of lower strata will happen. Okay. Malefics. The result of Saturn will become malefic, right? So servants may disturb you. Saturn is the karaka for bones. So bones related problems can be there. Getting my point? That will be the bad results. What is the good result? 8th Lord in the 8th house. Longevity will increase. There will be no disease in this period. One can get paternal property by inheritance also. Mixed result is there. Got my point. Now in the dasha of Mars, the person will have dhana yoga. The person will have money. Why? Mars is the 11th lord in the second house, also the 6th lord in the second house, and up to this extent it was bad. Conjoined with Moon. Why? Because being debilitated in the sign of Moon, along with Moon, it was afflicting Moon. In the previous combination, comparing Venus versus Moon, Moon is more volatile. Ask me why. Moon and Mercury are always very volatile because their beneficence depends on condition. Venus is undoubtedly benefic always. No planet can make him a malefic, right? In this scenario, because Mars is still debilitated, but getting aspected by the dispositor, he is rich in resources. Hence, he will give money, he will give dhana yoga. Understood? So one point is becoming very clear. Based on the lordship of the houses, you have to see whether the planet is a benefic or malefic. Then you have to see in which house it is placed and all the conjunctions, aspects, and relationships. Understanding my point? Yeah. That is the crux of astrology. It is not very simple. It is not very, very simple. Let me be very honest with you. You are not dealing with halwa body. This is astrology, right? This is prognosticating future, right? It is prognosticating future, predicting future. It is not a child's play. Get my point. समझ रहे? लस्सी नहीं बनानी. Prediction करना भाई. It is life and death, my friend. And if you don't understand, if you don't learn astrology seriously, you are making a bad karma by learning astrology. You know why? Because you're half analysis. You don't know astrology, you know it right. You know it from heart that you don't know it well. And then you advise people don't get married at this time, don't get married at that time. What are you doing? You are making bad karma. Getting my point? Be very careful about it. Learning it properly is the prime key. Understanding my, and when you learn it properly, you know, it gives you a whole lot of power. You know what? I just did a recent prediction, I think. I must have sent you a link where based on the Panchanga combinations, I told that you will have this much longevity. Do you remember it? I think all of you have got into your messages, right? Just based on the Panchanga factor, I told this many years of longevity. Got my point? In this particular case, just this case right now, only this combination. Saturn with moon in the 8th house of Capricorn aspected by Mars, I can fairly tell you that this person will live 52 years of life. Not 53, neither 51. 52 years of life. Just considering this much a combination. Because I know how to do it. Do you get my point? Do you understand me? The point that I want to make here. You think from your heart and your mind, both the places. Getting my point? I will just give you a clue on Y52. And you know why I will give you a clue? Because there are 9 planets, not 3. But once again, understand it, no slide, nothing. Okay, just try to understand it. 8th house, 8th lord, 8th karaka. 3 planet, long, middle, short. 3 longevity, right? 8th lord in 8th house, point check. First section completed. Short life he will be able to. 8th lord is okay. How about the 8th house? Do you think 8th house is in a good condition? By having the 8th lord, it is in a good condition. But by having the aspect of the Mars and moon, the conjunction of moon, it is not in a good condition, right? So for the second factor, I only give it a half a points. Just half a points, right? And for the matter of the 8th karaka Saturn, I give it no point at all. Because it is with a malefic aspected by a malefic and both of them are enemies, right? So I give like 120 years divided into 3. What is the answer? 40, 40, 40. So 40 years I give for a good 8th house. Because 8th lord is there. Right? 8th house is good by having the 8th lord. The house condition fulfilled, 40 years done. The last 40 years I will not give. Because the karaka is not in a good condition. Karaka going to 8th house is not a good house. See, Saturn is in own sign. That is okay. But the longevity karaka is not in a good sign. Understand it. Getting my point? As a karaka, he is not in a good place. As a lord, he is in. So precisely weighting all the factors, I can tell that this is a 52 years longevity case. And mind my word, precisely. Considering the factors of how many factors are there, how many are good, how many are bad. Getting my point? We are not playing in darkness. And don't play with darkness. Understand my point. Astrology is best way to improve your life or the worst disaster. And either way you can take it. You want to make it a disaster, you can make it a disaster as well.
52 का फिगर सर कैसे आया? ये तो 40 लिया है हमने, 52 का फिगर कैसे आया?
अब फिर पांडे साहब वो भी पूछोगे तो फिर कॉपी हो जाएगी टेक्निक, फिर लोग कोर्स में पढ़ा देते रिसर्च बोल बाल के कॉपी नहीं करवाते। प्लस प्लस ने जेमिनी तो यूज ही कहाँ कर रही है? जेमिनी में तभी तो हमने आत्मकार्य की नहीं गिना चार्ट में, डिग्री नहीं है, कहाँ से कुछ गिनूंगा मैं जेमिनी का? मुझे लग्नेश मरकरी नहीं पता, आरूढ़ लग्न नहीं निकल रहा, तो बाकी कहाँ से निकलेगा? दैट इज जस्ट अ 3 planet केस ना, तो 3 planet केस तो we can't do. You know what is the problem? See, so I'm telling you now, people will copy it and will teach it in the course, and I have no problem. You know what is the problem? That they themselves don't know the technique completely. So they in darkness, student in darkness. So in the end, who is suffering? The science. And who will suffer? The client. Getting my point? That is the particular reason I am against it. Otherwise, तो experience, Babu. Leaving it aside, going to the next sloka. Mithune Jayamanasya. Jayamanasya means someone born in the ascendant, right? The shloka number 5. Mithune Jayamanasya, someone born in the Gemini. Kuj Mando Ditiya Go. Kuj Mars, Mando Saturn. Mars and Saturn in the second house. Ashtamasto Bhaved Indu. Sani Bhauma Dasagame. तत्काले तन्हीनस्याता पूर्व भाग्यम विनश्यति किंचिदधन युतो जातो भवेद देवम न संशयः. Right, in the Gemini ascendant, Mars and Saturn in the second house and Moon in the 8th house. When the dasa of Saturn and Mars commence, and this is a very important principle, when the dasa of Saturn and Mars will commence, the native will lose wealth, property will be destroyed, but he will retain some money. Some money. Remember the word, some money. Why? So this is an MCQ class where I'm telling you to find the reason. Why? He can retain some money. So let's come one by one. Lose of wealth, but retention of some money. First of all, why loss of wealth? And when loss of wealth, why not complete loss of wealth? Point by point. Bhava Bhavesha Karaka. Bhav is 50% afflicted. Ask me why. Just deal about Bhav Bhavesh. Okay, leave Karaka. House and the house lord. Two principle, okay? House and the house lord. How many factors? House and the house lord. Okay. How many factors are there? House and the house lord. Two factors. Multiplied by placement, aspect, and conjunction. Placement of two planets, aspect of one planet, conjunction of one planet. For the second house, and placement of no planet, aspect of two planet, conjunction of no planet for the 8th house. 2, 2, 1, 3, 3, 2, 5, 6. 2 multiplied by 6 is equal to, there are 12 pointers for this analysis. Right. So let me give you a hint of how I come to 52. If you can understand it, right? These many pointers are there. Let me simplify it in a better way. There is a house, okay? House is aspected by the house lord. One good factor, moon aspect plus one good factor, okay? One good factor is there. Two planets in the second house, Mars and Saturn. Mars debilitated, Saturn in the enemy sign. Saturn further aspected by the enemy. So no point at all. So two malefics in the sign, -1. Those planets are inimical towards each other, -1 more. Saturn is aspected by his enemy moon, -1. Saturn is in an inimical sign, -1. Mars is debilitated, -1. Moon aspects the second house, +1 point. Mars is aspected by his dispositor plus 1 point also. Okay. It is plus 2 minus 5. These are the 5, right? Plus 2 minus 5. How much is left? 20%. So that's why he's saying lose of money 80%, but will retain some money 20%. Got my point? Technical analysis. House lord. In the case of house, 2 planets are placed there. Both of them are malefic towards each other. Both of them are inimical towards each other. Just the house is aspected by the house lord. One good point only. Coming to Mars, Mars is debilitated. That is with an enemy. That enemy is also malefic. 3 bad points. One good point is aspected by the sign lord. For Saturn, it is even worse. Saturn is with an enemy aspected by an enemy, but with a malefic aspected by a planet who can become a malefic as well, provided the fact where is sun. You do understand me? So that's why some money will be retained. Some money will be retained. But a whole lot of money, property, all the things from the second house, right? Second house is family, assets, property, the home that that you see. Fourth house is the home that you make. Second house is the home that you get from it as inheritance, right? All of them is lost. Some money is left. Why some money is left? Because at least second lord is looking at the second house. It is a very simple principle. And that very simple principle is, if there is a ray of hope, some money will be saved. Some money will be saved. One ray of hope. One. Getting my point? All these factors. So you have to, let me tell you this point. You want to do good astrology, what you do? Whenever you can do it mentally as well. Otherwise, have a notebook. And whenever you analyze a house, write the complete factors. And from, what? So this is what I told to Abhilasha one day. What is the difference between astrologer, Jyotishi, and a good Jyotishi? Astrologer knows sun in the ascendant, hair fall. Okay. Astrologer. Jyotishi will also know that sun in the ascendant as the fifth lord is good, is a Raj Yoga that will give good thing, right? Good Jyotishi is the one who will analyze the aspect. Once I was talking to my father regarding this, and he was just looking at one particular house like since long. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, what he's doing? It is very simple. Mars in the second house, okay. And that was some Sagittarius ascendant, Mars in the second house, okay. Now the Mars in the second house is a very good factor. Why he's looking at him? So I asked him actually, why you are looking so much at it? He told me, I am analyzing it from different angles. That day, I missed the point of angles. But now I know the angles, and these are the angles, Getting my point? 2 planets in the second house, 1 planet aspects the second house. There are 3 planets, 3 perspectives. 3 into 3 is equal to 9. There are 9 perspectives. Getting my point? Sun plus Mars. Are they friends? No. Are they good planets? No. Getting my point? You should understand it. Venus plus Saturn and Venus plus Mars. What is the difference? Venus plus Saturn. It is malefic and friend. 50% good result for Venus. The person will have an extramarital affair. Bad marital life, but at least he is getting married. Venus plus Sun, no marriage. Because he's a malefic plus enemy. Now what do you do? Getting my point? So there's a difference. Venus plus Saturn and Venus plus Sun. There's difference. When you look from the aspect of Venus. From the aspect of Saturn, Saturn is with a friend and a benefic. And Moon is with a benefic but not a friend. So there are two aspects to it. Mind it, it is not only one planet. And then you will also put house lordship into it. So Venus is the lord of two houses and Saturn is the lord of two houses. So these are four houses, and 4 into 4 is going to be 8 combinations. Suppose it is a Libra Lagna. Okay. Libra Lagna. This is Lagna Lord connected to the 4th Lord, Lagna Lord connected to the 5th Lord. Right? 8th Lord connected to the 4th Lord, 8th Lord connected to the 5th Lord. So these are 6 combinations. It is 2 planet combination with 4 result. Venus with a friend, Venus with a malefic. 2 result. 6 house based combinations and 3 combination based combinations. 6 plus 3 is equal to 9. 9 results are there. There are 9 perspectives to look at it. Venus is the karaka for marriage conjoined with a malefic. His marital life prospects will get delayed, malefic. But when he gets a wife, that lady will be very good because it is a friend. Your friend may come to your rescue later on, but he will come with good rescue. Getting my point? Venus with Sun, late marriage with a bad lady. Getting my point? Do you understand? It's different. It's different case. Both will delay. Saturn will delay, Sun will delay, both will delay. But Saturn, even though after the delay, will give a good spouse. Sun, even after a whole lot of delay, will give a bad spouse only. You get my point? Critical analytical thinking. In every class, I will tell you, Sun is a malefic, Sun is a malefic. Why you are reading this so much? Sun is a malefic, Sun is a malefic. This particular reason, don't forget. Malefics are a different list, friends are a different list. Getting my point? Don't confuse it. Be clear, okay? Multiple aspects to look at it. Just one more hint, specifically for Unnati ji, because Unnati ji joined just now. One small hint, What of so malefic versus friend, okay? You enjoy with your friend, right? So that's why friend or no friend denotes enjoyment. Malefic versus benefic is deciding the result is good or bad. Getting my point? So malefic but friend. You are getting a bad husband. But you enjoy with him. Getting my point? Who tell you don't enjoy with bad people? You can enjoy. If you have bad qualities, getting my point? So Venus plus Saturn. Despite being bad, you enjoy with him. Right? It is good for the mind, right? Friend is good for you. You enjoy with your friend. But suppose that malefic is not friend. Getting my point? The result is delayed and you also don't like it. मतलब रेस्टोरेंट में खाना गई 2 घंटा बाद खाना लाया और वो भी ठंडा लाया फिर मैंने भी तो इसलिए बैठेगा यहाँ पर मेलेफिक प्लस एनिमी हो गया नहीं यस और नो Do you get it? So the 7th shloka. Serious. Say, I'm a very bad guy. If you stick to the class after 2 hours, I will give you good principles. If you don't, fast food is not good for health. मिथुने जायमानस्यः धननाथस्तु चंद्रमा मार्को न भवत्येवः मानवस्य न संशयः. The moon, who is the lord of the second house for Gemini Ascendant, does not become a marka for the person born in the Gemini Ascendant. This is undoubted. Why? And it is a very simple answer. Just the principle that I was just explaining you. Moon, although being the second lord, the maraka lord, will not become maraka for a Gemini Ascendant person. Why? Friend, malefic. Two things, na? Friend or enemy, malefic or benefic. So, moon. Should moon kill? Moon considers Mercury as a friend only. So moon will not want to kill. Will he want to? No. Getting my point? That's why he will not want to kill. And he will not kill. Because he is a benefic. And he also thinks him as a friend. So that is the reason he is not going to kill. Mercury finds moon as an enemy, that is okay. But you get this point. Despite the fact that Mercury treats moon with enmity, moon treats Mercury in a good way. And for this particular reason, only for this particular reason, getting my point? Only for this particular. In the same way, Saturn takes Mercury as a friend and Mercury only takes Saturn as a neutral. So in the ascendant of Saturn, Mercury can give you death. But in the ascendant of Mercury, Saturn will not give you death. Mercury ascendants, Virgo and Gemini, are the ascendants where the most benefic planet, Jupiter, will become evil. He will be like, no one else is doing it. Let me do the honors. Jupiter will come. Jupiter, who will not kill anyone in the zodiac, he will be behind this Gemini people. Going to the next shloka, Mithune Jayamanascha Kuch Chandra tu Labh Gau Bhagyasto Yadivamando Vishesho Dhani Yogada. Now specific money. Now all three of them. Can you notice something, first of all? Bhavartha Ratnakara is only playing with one particular combination. One particular combination he's just playing with. He have taken planets, Mars, Moon, and Saturn. And he's playing with just them. He's saying, if Moon and Mars are in the 11th house, okay? If Moon and Mars are in the 11th house and Saturn in the 9th house, a strong Dhani Yoga will be there. You think over it. Mithune Jayamanasya, for the person born in Gemini, Kuj Chandra to Labhago, if the Kuja, Mars and Chandra Moon, Labhago is in the 11th house, Bhagyasto ya Divamando. If in the house of luck, 9th house, there is Saturn, Visheshadan Yoga, it gives special money. Why? Mars is powerful, own sign. Mars is with the benefic, yes. Mercury having any, Moon having any problem? Let me tell you one thing. Any malefic, and this is a rule from Andhra astrology. There are a few rules that are very peculiar to that particular area of astrology. There is a shlok, Ket Chodave Khet. Like Ketu takes you away from your farming land. That is a shloka from Rajasthan. That is a shloka of Rajasthan. Every Rajasthani astrologer will use it. Ketu gives you detachment, is a shloka from Rajasthan astrology. So there is a shloka from Andhra astrology. Andhra Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh astrology tells you any planet, no matter how malefic he is, when the planet is in own sign, he will not behave as a malefic. He will tend to behave as a benefic only. Specifically in the Mula Trigona sign. A malefic is a malefic completely. In exaltation sign, he will lose 25% of maleficence. In own sign, he will lose 50% of maleficence. In Mulut Trikona, he will lose 100% of maleficence. The same case, Saturn was in the 8th house, aspecting Mars and Moon in the 2nd house, but he was in his own sign only. 50% malefic, 50% benefic. Right now, he is in Mulut Trikona, 100% benefic. Mars is also in Mulut Trikona, 100% benefic. Getting my point? So the malefic aspect goes from Mars and Saturn, okay? And Moon and Mars are friendly itself. Saturn is just the enemy, but that is all okay. Why it is all okay? Because it is not a mutual aspect, it is a one-sided aspect, right? Only Saturn can cast his third aspect to Moon and Mars, whereas Moon and Mars cannot aspect this Saturn. Getting my point? It is just a one-sided aspect, and one-sided aspect is weak as compared to two-sided aspect. In the case of the 2nd house and the 8th house, it was a two-sided aspect, right? Here it is only one-sided aspect. Only give, no take. Do you get me? So it is 11th Lord in the 11th house with the 2nd Lord. 2nd Lord conjoined with a benefic, aspected by a benefic. Conjoined with a friend, aspected by an enemy, that is all okay. 11th Lord in 11th house with a benefic, aspected by a benefic. That benefic may be an enemy, but that is okay. Getting my point? So there are so many good factors and very few bad factors. So that's why it gives Vishesh Dhani Yoga, very special money combination. Understood? No doubt?
Sir, does aspect of Saturn make the, make the person having profit, it delays the profit?
Yeah, you can say it. You can say it. So we will rather use it in timing the result, when we will say that because of the aspect of Saturn, the person although will have Vishesh Dhani Yoga, person although will have very strong money, but he will only have it after the age of 40, not early. Or rather say, Moon and Mars gets activated early in the years. Moon will get activated at 24 years of age and Mars at 28. And Saturn will get activated after 40, 45, right? So what you can say that from 22 years of age up to 28 years of age, this person will earn a very good amount of money. Or rather say, say 30, say something like 32 years of age. From 22 years of age up to 32 years of age, this person will earn very good money. Because Moon and Mars will be activated. From 33 up to 42 or 33 up to 45, this person will struggle for finances because Saturn aspect once again, right? Delay. After 45, once again, Saturn will become activated and this person will have good amount of money. So it is a combination, good amount of money up to 32 and good amount of money after 45. From 32 to 45, there will be some problems because of Saturn. Delay, denial. So generally what we do, the planet making the combination. If there is some bad influences coming, we will say for that particular time, this result is not there. Because of, that particular small bad result.
सर शनि 2 बार एक्टिवेट होगा 32 में तो होता है जैसे फिर 45 में जाकर फिर
32 में कहां से एक्टिवेट होता है
32 33
उसको मैं नहीं मानूंगा 32 33 को मैं 45 ही मैं इसलिए 32 बोला कि 28 की उम्र में जब मंगल एक्टिवेट होगा तो उसके बाद मंगल कुछ 2-3-4 साल रहेगा ऐसा मान लेते हैं वैसे इसको दशांतर दशा के हिसाब से देखना चाहिए कि 28 साल के बाद जब खराब दशा आएगी तब से शुरू होगा खराब समय और फिर जब तक शनि की उम्र नहीं आ जाती 45 तब तक जो है खराब ही खराब समय चलेगा ऐसा मान के चलना चाहिए क्योंकि आपको दशा को गोचर को और ग्रह के नेचुरल फ्रुक्टिफिकेशन के सालों को तीनों को मिला करके समझ रहे बात को आप तीनों को मिला के काम करना है सप्तमेश का फ्रुक्टिफिकेशन का जब ईयर आएगा उसके आसपास जब सप्तमेश का अच्छा गोचर हो और उसी समय पे जब अच्छी दशा चलती हो तब विवाह का समय होता बढ़िया समझे ना बात को जो काम आप अपनी मर्जी से कर रहे हैं वो तो गोचर डिपेंडेंट है जो काम अपने आप होना है वो ग्रह के ईयर पे डिपेंडेंट है, ग्रह अपने आप करेगा ना उसको। आप तो नहीं चाहते गरीबी आ गई, ग्रह अपने आप लाएगा। इधर आओ तुम्हें कर्म का फल देते हैं, इधर आओ तुम्हारा, है कि नहीं? तो वो फिर ग्रह अपने हिसाब से जब आएगा तब आएगा, है ना। दिस इज अ पर्टिकुलर मेथड, आई विल बी डिस्कसिंग इट वन डे, which age band to which age band, because there are multiple age bands given in multiple books. You can make a list of every year, like this year this planet will be activated, that year that planet will be activated. I have a particular list from the tradition, and most probably Abhilasha ji will be teaching it in the 25 golden rules itself, right? There is a lord for at least one lord for per year, because you know what happens in normal year, Mars becomes activated at the age of 28, then Saturn will become activated at the age of 40. For the 12 years in between, what is the thing that is going to happen? The 12 years in between is all empty. So can you say there is no result in that all those 12 years? There are. How do you predict that? Getting my point? Yes. Okay, the second to last shloka.
Excuse me, sir. Like you said, Mars get activated at 28, right? It will remain activated for how many years?
That is the question. That depends on the house Rashi Navamsha of the Mars.
Okay.
Generally, it remains activated until and unless the next planet becomes activated. More or less. जब तक उसको भंग नहीं, क्योंकि लास्ट में ना, इसके पहले लास्ट में 24 में वो जो है कि सूर्य एक्टिवेट होगा, तो 24-28 तक तो कोई काटेगा नहीं उसको बीच में, तो 24-28 तक सूर्य चलना चाहिए हिसाब से। बट फिर उसमें मतभेद वाली बात है। Some people will say this will get activated, some people will say that will get activated. You should take what is. So this is what we learn in tradition. Now, in the case of difference of opinion, go with your experience and what the tradition is saying. So you have to go by the experience.
Okay.
The second last shloka, Guru Manda Tayorvasha. For someone born in the Gemini Ascendant, for someone born in the Gemini Ascendant, okay. Yogama Jatasya Bhagyastho, in the house of luck, Bhagya, if there is Guru, Jupiter, Mando, Saturn, Tayor Dasha, in their dashas, Kale Bhavati, in the time of their dashas, Gangaya Snanam Bhavati Nischaya, the person will surely have a dip in Ganges. First of all, having a dip in Ganga, what does that mean? I have told this in the first class, dip in Ganga. Dip in Ganga means the person has completed all his duties. Now his tension free. Brahmacharya, Grihasthavan, Prastha Sannyas. When you take sannyas, when your child is settled and everything is there, right? You cannot take sannyas in between. That is why it is told to have child at the appropriate time, not to have child at the... See, a female will remain fertile at the age of 40 also. So why not to have a child at the age of 40? Because when you have a child at the age of 40, at least up to the age of 70, you cannot take sannyas. You cannot go to one person because the child will be just 25 years old. And 25 is not an age when you can leave your child. Getting my point? That's why it is told have a child before 30 only. So that appropriate time, right? Appropriate time. You are 70, your child is 20. Can you handle him? You will not be able to. That will become quite problematic. Getting my point? Understand me? Yeah. So that is the completion of duty. Why? Ninth Lord and ninth house. And this is the 10th Lord, right? You know, 2 houses indicate completion of duties. 3 houses actually indicate the completion of duties. Ninth house, 10th house and 11th house. 9th house, the most powerful Trikona. 10th house, the most powerful Kendra. And the third house, the most, sorry, not 11th house, third house. Third house, the most powerful Upchaya. So 9th, 10th, and 3rd indicates duties complete, tension-free retirement. Got my point? Retirement. So it is the 10th Lord and the 9th Lord in the 9th house and the 10th Lord in 9th house, my friend. He is with a neutral planet who is not a malefic because he's in Murat Trikona, right? And that to it, he is in a good sign almost because it is a sign of the neutral planet. For that particular reason, Jupiter Sun in their Dasha Antar Dasha, the person will be free of all the duties, tension free. Go have a dip in the Ganges, go to Jagannath Puri, Dwarka Ashram, anywhere, live peacefully and happily, all peace and happiness is there, right? Retirement time. 9th house, 10th house, and 3rd house specifically indicates retirement. In that too, 3rd house doesn't indicate retirement that much because 3rd house also signifies tension. That's why I said 11th house at the first place, because 11th house is fulfillment of wishes. But 11th house have a negative aspect to it. It is an upachaya that's always growing. So one desire of 11th house fulfilled, a new desire will come. For that particular reason, just the 9th house and the 10th house. 9th house, the most powerful Trikona, and 10th house, the most powerful Kendra. These two houses indicate retirement. So, you will find these people who have very strong Raj Yoga don't want to work. Because they want to take permanent retirement from day one. पहला दिन ऑफिस जाएगा, दूसरा दिन बोलेगा हमें तो छुट्टी दे दो. अरे क्यों छुट्टी दे दो भाई? 9th 10th का कनेक्शन है ना, छुट्टी दो. Getting my point? People in government job. Okay. The last shloka for Mercury and the last shloka for the class. Okay. Yeah, the next is the Karkat Lagna. Mithune Jayamanasya, people born in Gemini Ascendant. Budho Labhastito Yadi. If the Mercury is in the 11th house, just Jatakasya Bhavidruvam. The person will specifically oppose or will be opposite his elder brother. Why? Oh, this is something, this is a result that is not Raj Yoga. Let me tell you a principle. Whichever house your Lagna Lord is placed in, that house suffers a lot, That house suffers a lot. You check people with Lagna Lord in 5th house. They have quite a problem with children. Lagna Lord tend to disturb the living signification of that house. That is a very peculiar trait of the Lagna Lord. People nowadays comes up with theories. Rahu indicates the karma that you want to do in this life. Ketu indicates the karma that you have already done in the previous life. पिछले जन्म में नहाता था, इस जन्म में नहीं नहाएगा भाई, फिर नहाएगा ना. पिछले जन्म में शादी की थी, जन्म नहीं करेगा, करेगा. पिछली बार बच्चा किया था, इस बार भी करेगा. फिर पिछले जन्म में सब किया था, मरा भी था उसमें, इस बार भी मरेगा भाई, हर बार मरता है. Janma is the only thing that you have to be done again and again. You have to understand my point. So the logic of Ketu is what you have done in the last life. It is useless. Last life you also have a father. This life you also have a father. Next life you will also have a father. Last life you married. This life you also married. Last life you had a child. This life you will also have a child. Getting my point? जो जो पहले किया फिर से करेगा भाई. See, Krishna is said na yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever dharma will decrease, What you want to say? That dharma will decrease, and it will keep on decreasing again and again. Because whatever happened once will keep on happening again and again. Getting my point? So there's no concept of thing that you have achieved in the previous life. You achieved nothing in previous life. Whatever you achieved is all gone. Getting my point? No achievement or no karma remains with the soul. Point one. Coming to my topic, Lagna Lord indicates what? The self. And generally, so a planet will aspect at the 7th house, right? The planet will aspect at the 7th house. And aspect is what? Something like, you know, this phone is in front of me. So that is under my aspect. Getting my point? So this is where I want to go. So when I have a phone in my hand and you are standing at a place, you will not be conscious of the particular place where you are situated. Getting my point? This particular thing of whenever Lagna Lord is situated, you are generally careless about that house. Or the living signification of that house is hampered. You tend to have challenges related to that house. Wherever Lagna Lord is placed, okay? That is one of the formula minded. Lagna Lord placed house, you will have a challenge with. Lagna Lord in 5th house, problem with child. Lagna Lord in 4th house, problem with mother. Lagna Lord in 9th house, problem with father. Lagna Lord in 7th house, problem with spouse. 7th Lord in Lagna, very good. Lagna Lord in 2nd house, problem with family. Lagna Lord in 10th house, problem with boss. That's why Lagna Lord 10th house can never work in a job because he thinks his boss is evil. अरे मुझे सुबह ऑफिस आने को कहता है सर, अभी तो घर में बैठ के पैसे देगा, क्या ऑफिस आने को कहेगा ये भाई आगे, ऐसे थोड़ी ना पैसे कोई दे रहा. Getting my point? So whichever house the Lagna Lord, that is a very common principle. Whichever house the Lagna Lord is placed in, that house will suffer. And you know what? Bhavartha Ratnakara, the text by Ramanujam. Bhavartha Ratnakara is a text very famous for such a result. Ramanujacharya. Bhavartha Ratnakara is very famous for such results, right? Result number 1, whichever house Lagna Lord is placed in, that house will suffer. 3rd house indicate younger brother. 11th house indicate elder brother. So Lagna Lord in 3rd house, problem with younger brother. Lagna Lord in 11th house, problem with elder brother. Lagna Lord in 2nd house, problem with family. Lagna Lord in 4th house, problem with mother. Lagna Lord in 5th house, problem with child. Lagna Lord in 6th house, problem with enemy. So everyone is having a problem with enemy, by the way. Too many problems with enemy. Lagna Lord in 7th house, problem to the spouse. Lagna Lord in Lagna, problem with own self. मैं काम क्यों नहीं कर पाता, मैं सो के क्यों नहीं उठ पाता, मैं जिम क्यों नहीं जा पाता. अरे हमसे क्या पूछते हो, खुद से पूछो क्यों नहीं कर पाता. तो दिस इज डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन. व्हाई यू कांट डू इट, आस्क योरसेल्फ, हाउ कैन आई आंसर. Right? So Lagna Lord, whichever house Lagna Lord will be there, you are going to have a particular problem with that thing. Lagna Lord in 8th house, oh, I should not die in accident, I should die at my home, I want to die here, I want to die there, book me a resort, I want to die in this resort. When you die, no one will know that you are going to die. Getting my point? There are many people who make arrangements for where I want to die, at which place. Getting my point? लोगों बड़ा रहता है ना, मैं मरूंगा तो मेरी मिट्टी को जो है मतलब गांव में मरना चाहता हूं मैं, जन्मभूमि में दफनाना मुझे. Getting the stuff. So whichever house the Lagna Lord is situated in, you are worried regarding that house and you have a problem related to living signification of that house. And that is for one particular reason. You know, Lagna is the self. So you treat that person like you treat yourself. That is the problem. Because the time you become more friendly, the relationship will start distorting. Getting my point? Too much friendship is never good. Too much enmity, maybe. Too much friendship is not. Getting my point? If you meet your enemy, you will never fight. If you meet your best friend, you will always fight. That is the particular thing. Bhavartha Ratnakara is very famous for such results. Like, you know, there is one more result for Bhavartha Ratnakara. One more peculiar result that you will find soon. Any planet in the 12th house gives good result for the house he's the Karaka for. So Venus in the 12th house is very good for marriage because he's Karaka for the 7th house. Saturn in the 12th house is very good for longevity because he's the Karaka for the 8th house. Sun in the 12th house is also very good for longevity because he's the Karaka for the ascendant. Jupiter in the 12th house is very good for money because he's the Karaka for the 2nd house and 11th house. Getting my point? So Ratnakar is very, very famous for such results. However, this for the Gemini Ascendant, and I am pretty sure that the concepts are clear to you. And at the same point of time, I'm also very sure that it is not very clear to you. So you have to go to the video again and again. So keep on going at a leisure time. Right? Make notes. You seriously study it, only then it will seriously come. You don't seriously study it, it will not seriously come. Simple as that, right? So seriously study, make notes, listen to the classes again and again. The whole class is live on YouTube, right? Go there. And there is one thing that you can take a bookmark. So you watch a video and you can write a time that I have watched up to 2 hours 22 minutes, right? Or 1 hour 52 minutes. You can note it down. I watch it up to 1 hour 52 minutes, then play it again from that same time, right? So that is small trick. Everyone may be knowing it. Any question? Confusion? Tension? I'm sure there should be none. Okay. So, fine. Let's meet in the next class. Whenever next class will be there, will be announced in the group, right? Namaskar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very good class it was.
Pranam, Guruji. Pranam, Vikas.